And news just out, Stellantis is laying off almost 2,500 factory workers from an assembly plant outside of Detroit.
Jeep is facing bankruptcy. This news has sent ripples through the market, raising questions about how a brand once synonymous with rugged adventure and American spirit could find itself in such dire straits. But how did we get here? Is their lineup now seen as outdated? And most importantly, what does this mean for you? What's happening? Jeep, once a symbol of rugged adventure and American ingenuity, has found itself in uncharted territory. For the past 5 consecutive years, the iconic brand has experienced a troubling decline in US sales, and projections for 2024 suggest this downward spiral is far from over. The numbers tell a sobering story. Jeep's sales have plummeted a staggering 34% from their all-time high, with some of the brand's most beloved models, the Cherokee and Renegade, being discontinued due to decreasing consumer demand. The first half of 2024 alone saw a 9% drop in Jeep's US sales, a trend that has contributed to a broader 20% drop across the entire Stellantis brand portfolio. This alarming situation begs the question, what has led to Jeep's precipitous fall from grace? It's a pretty wild drop, and there are 3 big reasons fueling this decline, so let's break it down. But before we get into all that, how about giving this video a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button? The price gamble. Stellantis, the powerhouse behind Jeep, has decided to steer the iconic off-road brand into uncharted territory. And let me tell you, it's a move that's leaving some longtime Jeep enthusiasts scratching their heads. You see, Stellantis has its sights set on the luxury market, aiming to rake in a whopping 11% of its new car revenues from the premium segment by 2030. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jeep luxury. It's about as unlikely a pairing as a mud-caked Wrangler and a freshly buffed showroom floor. But that's exactly the challenge Stellantis is taking on. And let's just say it's not going down without a fight. Let's rewind for a second and take a look at what made Jeep so beloved in the first place. The brand has built its reputation on churning out rugged, reliable, and most importantly, affordable vehicles that could tackle any terrain, from the dusty back roads to the towering mountains. These were the workhorses that adventure seekers and outdoor enthusiasts flocked to, drawn to their uncompromising durability and go-anywhere attitude. But now, Stellantis has decided to turn Jeep into a high-end, high-priced player in the luxury market. And let me tell you, the old-school Jeep faithful are not happy about it. Imagine your trusty Wrangler getting a fancy makeover, complete with a 6-figure price tag and leather seats that are more at home on a private jet than a muddy trail. It's a jarring transformation, to say the least. Take the Grand Wagoneer, for example, a Jeep that'll set you back a cool $100,000. That's enough to buy a small house in some parts of the country. And don't even get me started on the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, which comes in at a staggering $123,000. I mean, come on, that's more than some people spend on their entire college education. It's enough to make even the most ardent Jeep lover scratch their heads and wonder, what on earth is happening to the beloved off-road icon? And it's not just the eye-watering price tags that have Jeep's traditionalists up in arms. The brand's new focus on luxury and high-end features has also left many longtime customers feeling completely disconnected from the vehicles they once loved. After all, what good is a plush, leather-lined interior when you're navigating a rocky trail or fording a raging river? Jeep's rugged DNA is being diluted, and the brand's loyal followers are not having it. The aftermath. The strategic pivot towards luxury has been a risky move for Stellantis, the automaker behind the iconic Jeep brand. While the pursuit of high-end models may have seemed like a surefire way to boost profits, the consequences have been far-reaching and, in many cases, quite detrimental. As Stellantis has pushed these high-priced models, many dealerships have found themselves drowning in unsold inventory. Imagine a car lot filled with shiny, expensive Jeeps that just aren't moving. It's like a car collector's dream gone horribly wrong. This accumulation of stock not only puts a strain on dealership finances, but it also reflects a glaring disconnect between what Stellantis thinks customers want and what they're actually willing to buy. Dealers have been pulling their hair out, trying to make sense of Stellantis' moves. They feel abandoned, left to deal with the fallout of unsold inventory and a customer base that's increasingly disillusioned by the brand's new direction. In a recent open letter, the chairman of the National Dealer Council didn't hold back, calling for better communication and support from the corporate corporate bigwigs. It's like they're asking Stellantis to throw them a lifeline, but all they're getting are thinly veiled shrugs. It's a tale of cautionary excess, where Stellantis seems to have forgotten the very essence of what made Jeep so beloved in the first place. Sure, chasing those high-end profits might look tempting on paper, but at what cost? The brand's loyal following, the dealership's financial well-being, and the very identity that Jeep has worked so hard to cultivate. It's all on the line. Now let's dive into the second reason why Jeep is facing bankruptcy: a ticking clock. The world of cars is changing faster than a speeding bullet, and at the heart of this transformation is a booming demand for electric vehicles. It's almost like we're living in the future, right? As more people become aware of environmental issues and governments push for stricter regulations to cut down carbon emissions, the automotive landscape is shifting dramatically. In fact, in the US alone, electric vehicle sales are growing at lightning speed. Experts are even predicting that by 2030, electric vehicles could account for a whopping 50% of all new vehicle sales. That's a trend any car manufacturer would want to be riding on, but here's where it gets sticky for Stellantis, the automaker behind well-known names like Jeep and Ram. Despite the electrification frenzy taking the industry by storm, Stellantis seems to be lagging behind. While other companies race ahead, Stellantis is struggling to keep up, and that's a big deal when it comes to staying competitive in the market. A significant chink in Stellantis' armor is its lack of electric truck options, especially in the US market, which has a colossal appetite for trucks. Let's put it in perspective. Ford has been making waves with its electric truck, the Ford F-150 Lightning. This model isn't just another run-of-the-mill launch. It has received rave reviews and generated strong consumer interest, firmly placing Ford at the forefront of the electric truck segment. Meanwhile, Stellantis has announced plans for electric models, such as the Ram 1500 Revolution, but these vehicles are still stuck in the development pipeline. So while Ford is busy claiming its turf, Stellantis is falling further and further behind, and that's a tough pill to swallow. Now, let's talk about the impact this has on Jeep, a brand that's synonymous with adventure and ruggedness. Jeep's slow crawl into the world of electric vehicles has led to a perception, not entirely unfounded, that it's falling behind in the fierce electric vehicle race. With competitors like Ford and Tesla out there innovating and capturing market share at breakneck speed, Jeep is at risk of losing touch with consumers who value not just heritage, but also sustainability and tech-savvy designs. This isn't just about trucks, it's about brand relevance in a rapidly changing marketplace. Moreover, Jeep's delayed transition to electric models has given way to a tarnished brand image. Once seen as a pioneer, the brand now seems more like a relic of the past, stuck in the comfort of traditional internal combustion engine vehicles. As more consumers shift towards brands that embody forward-thinking and eco-friendly values, Jeep could increasingly find itself in a precarious position, one that reflects resistance to change rather than embracing it. Talk about a major disconnect. But why are they late? One of the primary challenges Jeep faces is maintaining its legendary reputation for ruggedness and off-road capabilities while also pivoting toward electrification. Let's talk engineering for a second. The technological demands of electric vehicles are markedly different from traditional trucks and SUVs. For example, finding a way to deliver ample torque for off-road performance while managing the substantial weight of the battery is no small feat. Engineers at Jeep have their work cut out for them. Additionally, you've got consumers to think about. Take a moment to imagine your typical Jeep enthusiast. They're not just looking for a stylish ride, but also a vehicle that can tackle the wildest terrains without breaking a sweat. Balancing these lofty consumer expectations with the current limitations of electric vehicle technology is going to be a critical and tricky balancing act for Jeep. On top of all this, Stellantis faces yet another hurdle: how to innovate while keeping the vehicles affordable. Electric vehicles often come with higher production costs, mainly due to the pricey nature of current battery technologies. This situation poses a challenge for Stellantis. How do they keep pricing competitive while also investing heavily in these new technologies? They need to find the sweet spot, because if they set the price of Jeep's electric models too high, they run the risk of alienating their traditional customer base, those who appreciate a good bargain while also relishing in the rugged charm that Jeep represents. Now, don't count Jeep out just yet. There's still hope, and it comes in the form of their 4xe plug-in hybrid models, like the Jeep Wrangler 4xe. This model presents an interesting compromise. By combining traditional internal combustion engine technology with electric capabilities, the 4xe allows Jeep to maintain a certain level of off-road performance while slowly introducing its customers to the idea of electrification. This could be the bridge that connects traditional Jeep fans with eco-friendly consumers who may be seeking sustainable options but aren't quite ready to fully dive into an all-electric vehicle yet. Now let's move on to the third reason: quality concerns. The car industry is facing a shocking situation, and at the center of it are the iconic Jeep Wranglers and Gladiators, which have recently made headlines for spontaneously catching fire. This troubling development has thrown the spotlight on Stellantis, the parent company of Jeep, and has triggered concerns not only about consumer safety, but also the very reputation Jeep has built over decades. When you think Jeep, you think toughness and reliability. Now, those pillars are wobbling, and that spells trouble for everyone involved. Let's dive into the gravity of the situation. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has launched an investigation into more than 781,000 Jeep Wrangler and Gladiator SUVs produced from the 2021 to 2023 model years. This probe revolves around alarming reports of underhood fires. So far, there have been 9 documented incidents associated with these fires, including 1 injury. What's even more unsettling is that many of these fires erupt when the vehicles are parked and completely turned off. Imagine leaving your car safely parked only to have it ignite unexpectedly. This kind of risk isn't just scary, it raises critical safety questions for everyone involved. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's investigation is digging deeper into these underhood fires, seeking to pinpoint their causes and the frequency with which they occur. Focus is specifically directed at the electrical connectors linked to the power steering pump located on the passenger side of the engine compartment. Depending on the findings, this investigation could potentially lead to a formal recall, which would not only impact Stellantis from a regulatory standpoint, but could also deal a severe blow to its brand image. Stellantis has claimed that they're cooperating fully with the investigation, but there's no denying that the specter of a recall is looming ominously over them, like dark clouds gathering before a storm. The fiery crisis. This brings us to the weighty consequences that issues with quality control can have on a brand's reputation. Jeep has prided itself on being tough and reliable, marketing itself as the go-to automobile for adventure lovers who like to take on rugged terrains. However, when a company's products are plagued by spontaneous fires, that image comes crashing down. Consumers begin to question the brand's commitment to safety and quality, leading to a shaky perception of its reliability. Trust plays an enormous role in the automotive industry. Consumers need to feel secure that the vehicle they're investing in won't put them at risk. Sadly, as reports of these fires ripple through the marketplace, potential buyers may hesitate before making the leap to purchase a Jeep vehicle. No one wants to end up behind the wheel of a car they fear has a hidden fire hazard lurking under the hood. Now, let's break down the financial implications of this quality control nightmare. If Stellantis is forced to issue a recall, prepare for some serious sticker shock, not just for the company, but also for the automotive market overall. A recall entails a slew of direct costs tied to repairs, not to mention the logistical hurdles involved in managing how all of those affected vehicles will be dealt with. Depending on how extensive the recall needs to be, we could be looking at costs into the millions or even more. Let's also not forget about the legal consequences Stellantis might face if these fires lead to injuries or property damage. Picture campaigns of lawsuits on the horizon if consumers decide to take action against them for injuries resulting from these incidents. The financial burden from prolonged legal battles can be crushing and would further tarnish Jeep's brand reputation. Dealership on the brick. The financial strain posed by unsold inventory is more than just a statistic. It's a stark reality for many. Jeep's sales figures are alarming, and if you need a wake-up call, this is it. A staggering 34% plunge in US sales. Back in 2018, they sold over 973,000 units, but that number dropped to fewer than 643,000 last year. Why is this happening? It's not just market trends. Let's discuss the discontinuation of popular entry-level models like the Cherokee and Renegade. These vehicles were once the lifeblood of sales, and their absence has slashed market coverage by a jaw-dropping 80%. Dealerships are now left stuck with excess inventory that they can't sell, essentially sitting on a ticking time bomb of financial strain. Speaking of inventory, we need to look at the numbers as of mid-2023. Jeep is facing an inventory level that stands at a chilling 77 days supply. It's uncomfortable in comparison to the national average of 53 days across all automakers. This surplus isn't just a number, it's a glaring sign that dealerships are struggling to move these vehicles off their lots. Every extra day these cars sit translates into increased holding costs, weighing heavily on the books and pushing many even closer to the edge of financial ruin. Now let's talk about something that's even more concerning: potential dealership closures and the real possibility of job losses. The financial pressures from unsold vehicles don't just leave dealerships in a tight spot, they're a harbinger of tough decisions ahead. Many local dealerships operate on razor-thin margins. They thrive on consistent sales to keep their doors open. If Jeep's sales don't bounce back, we could be looking at a wave of downsizing, or worse yet, complete closures. The fallout from that would hit communities hard. These dealerships provide vital jobs, and losing them could mean a significant blow to local employment rates. And let's not forget the community impact. Dealerships are often the backbone of their local economies, providing not just jobs for sales staff, but also for service technicians, administrative personnel, and various support roles. When a dealership closes, it's more than just a closed sign on a door. It can trigger a domino effect in the local economy, drastically cutting down consumer spending and putting other nearby businesses at risk. Foot traffic from dealership customers is crucial. Without it, those businesses may struggle to stay afloat. The fallout from Jeep's recent struggles isn't just confined to the showrooms, it's reverberating through local businesses that rely heavily on the foot traffic generated by these dealerships. Economic impact. Picture this: restaurants, retail shops, and service providers are all interconnected to the automotive ecosystem. When consumers hit the brakes on car purchases due to an uncertain economy and declining sales, those local establishments feel the crunch as well. It's a domino effect that could signal a downturn for local economies, with far-reaching implications for communities that thrive on the spending patterns of car buyers. Now, let's talk about the automotive supply chain. It's not just a conveyor belt of parts and vehicles, it's an intricate web of dependencies that keeps the industry humming. When dealerships face disruptions, the ripple effects can be substantial. It can mean fewer orders for essential parts and services, often leaving suppliers in the lurch. The repercussions don't stop there. Manufacturers and service providers that depend on consistent dealership business are also tossed into the whirlwind. This tangled mess underscores how interconnected our economic fabric is, and when one part falters, the whole structure risks shaking. But it gets even deeper. Jeep's decline isn't merely a blip on the radar. It reflects significant systemic changes rippling through the American auto industry as a whole. Consumer buying habits are evolving, with a growing preference for more affordable, reliable options taking center stage. On top of that, there's an undeniable shift toward electric vehicles as buyers explore alternatives. Established brands that once dominated the market, like Jeep, find themselves navigating a rapidly changing landscape where competitors like Ford are claiming market share with their compelling models, like the Bronco. The preferences of consumers are shifting. These days, people are more price sensitive and environmentally aware than ever before. If Jeep fails to pivot and align with these changing dynamics, its traditional allure risks fading into obscurity. The brand's struggle to remain relevant and maintain its cool factor could alienate a whole new generation of potential buyers, effectively leaving them out in the cold. It's a pivotal moment for Jeep as it grapples with not just surviving the competition, but thriving in an era where consumer values are undergoing a fundamental shift. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the outcome could redefine what it means to be an auto brand in today's marketplace. The ripple effect. Amidst the ongoing turmoil surrounding Jeep, buyers might just strike gold. It's a ripe season for discovering fantastic discounts and enticing incentives on vehicles from the celebrated Ram, Jeep, and Dodge brands. Picture this: dealerships are wrestling with unsold inventory and a noticeable dip in sales, creating a unique landscape for consumers to negotiate. But there's a catch. While instant perks look appealing, the long-term ramifications could send ripples through the entire automotive market, influencing future consumer decisions in unpredictable ways. The discounts and incentives available currently are nothing short of significant. This sharp decline has put immense pressure on dealerships, driving them to take urgent action to move vehicles off their lots. They are rolling out the red carpet with generous discounts and enticing incentives designed to lure buyers in like moths to a flame. For instance, promotional offers can reach up to 15% off the manufacturer's suggested retail price on popular models, like the Jeep Compass. This particular vehicle vehicle has been weighted down by its lackluster sales performance, prompting dealerships to offer heavy incentives. Imagine getting behind the wheel of a Jeep Compass that once felt financially out of reach. Now it's well within your grasp. Negotiation is key in this scenario. Consumers with a knack for bargaining can truly capitalize on the current market. Dealerships are keen to offload inventory, and this eagerness means buyers have the potential to negotiate lower prices or secure favorable financing options. Think 0% interest loans that make ownership accessible in ways that weren't before. And let's not forget the variety on the table. With a smorgasbord of vehicles currently priced to sell, the Stellantis lineup opens up a treasure trove of options. Buyers can explore not only the Jeep models, but also delve into the rugged Ram trucks and the bold Dodge vehicles. This expanded selection grants potential owners a broader palette to choose from, enhancing the buying experience. Timing is everything, and for prospective buyers keen on snagging a vehicle, now couldn't be more beneficial, especially given the tumultuous state of the market. As Stellantis contends with its inventory challenges and works tirelessly on a turnaround strategy, savvy consumers can take advantage of several factors. Long-term consequences. While current discounts and incentives might seem like a gift to consumers, let's take a moment to peel back the layers and understand the potential long-term consequences of Jeep's ongoing struggles. It's easy to get lost in the excitement of savings, but these immediate benefits could mask a series of shifts that may impact the automotive landscape and buyers' choices in profound ways. One significant concern is that we could be looking at a future with fewer options. Jeep's slipping sales figures and mounting financial pressures are red flags that signal troubling changes ahead. For instance, the elimination of entry-level models like the Jeep Cherokee and Renegade has already carved a sizable gap in market coverage. If Jeep continues this trajectory, largely driven by poor sales performance, it's all too likely consumers will find their options dwindling within the SUV segment. Fewer models on the market don't just limit choices, they redefine the landscape of available SUVs, which could leave buyers disappointed in searching for alternatives. Now let's talk about rising prices in the future. The enticing current discounts on Jeep models might have consumers feeling like they've struck gold, but that could just be the calm before the storm. Rising production costs loom on the horizon. If Stellantis fails to stabilize its operations and boost quality control, it may end up facing inefficiencies or unforeseen recalls that hike production costs. Guess who will ultimately bear the brunt of those costs? That's right, the consumers. Higher production costs inevitably translate into steeper vehicle prices, making it increasingly challenging for buyers to find affordable options down the line. And don't let ongoing supply chain challenges fly under your radar. These persistent issues plague the entire automotive industry and can exacerbate pricing pressures even further. Manufacturers grappling with parts shortages or soaring material costs may find themselves raising the manufacturer's suggested retail price across all brands. If this trend continues, those tantalizing deals we see today might morph into much heftier price tags in the future. Let's not overlook the impact on the used car market either. Jeep's current sales struggles may create waves that crash into the world of used vehicles as well. Heavy discounting on new Jeep models, along with unsold inventory lingering on lots, could lead to depreciation rates skyrocketing for existing Jeep owners. No one wants to deal with the financial hit that comes when a surplus of new vehicles drives down the resale value of their reliable used Ram 1500 or Jeep Wrangler. So what does this all mean for you, the consumer? While the allure of discounts may bring immediate gratification, it's crucial to remain aware of the bigger picture. Are you prepared to navigate these bumps in the road? Let us know your thoughts in the comment below.